With me in the studio is Julie Fields. Julie was unlucky enough to be on holiday in Japan when the recent earthquake struck. Julie, I'm glad you're here to tell the tale. We don't have too many earthquakes here in Britain, so not many of our listeners have first-hand experience of what it's like to be present at quite literally an earth-shaking event such as this. What happened to you?
We were driving. It was just the two of us, when our car started to veer wildly from side to side. For a moment, we thought it was a flat tire, so we pulled over and got out. Then we realised that the earth was still shaking. It seemed to stop after a few seconds, and remember, we still hadn't worked out what it was at this stage. Then it came back, with a vengeance. I think that's the point when Paul said, "It's an earthquake." The ground shook violently from side to side, really jerky movements as I remember. Then there was some up and down movement. I was holding onto the top of the car to try and keep my balance, and Paul was kind of bent double, unable to straighten up or get a foothold on anything. And we could hear rocks falling somewhere, which was the really scary thing. Anyway, the next thing was these plumes of what looked like smoke, but turned out to be dust rising into the air. That was weird, and I remember staring at them, trying to work out what it was. After what seemed like hours, the earth stopped moving, and the sound of the rocks faded away. It had only been a few seconds, I suppose. We couldn't move for a few minutes. We were both shaking, and I was crying hysterically. I'd never known anything like it, but I had absolutely no control over my emotions. I was crying so hard that I couldn't catch my breath.
A harrowing experience. You say you were crying. Was that out of fear, do you think?
No, I've thought about this a lot. I don't think it could have been fear because, after all, I didn't start crying till after it had stopped. I don't know what it was. All I can say is that there is no time to be frightened at first because you don't recognise it while it is happening. Then, when the aftershocks start, that's when the fear sets in, because when it starts up again, you have a very clear memory of the big one and you expect the aftershock to do the same. There's also the worry that the next one could be even bigger. I'm told that's quite rare, that they usually diminish in size, but your brain doesn't work rationally when you're gripped by that kind of fear. My thought processes in the first few hours following the earthquake were very muddled. I wanted to run away, to stay still, to be airlifted, to go and dive into the sea somewhere. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had a really hard time coming to terms with the fact that the one thing you could take for granted, the earth being beneath your feet, couldn't be taken for granted after all. And every time there was a little shake, or a big shake, I had a different response.
How long did you stay there after the earthquake?
We were there for another 5 days afterwards.
And what were you like during that time? Did you begin to get over it?
Well, that was another strange thing. The more we heard other people's stories, the jumpier we became. I mean, the aftershocks continued the whole time, so we hardly slept at all. It was one thing to be out in the open when it happened, and in a way I'm glad we were. But back in the hotel, the sounds and sensations were very different when there was a tremor. We seemed to spend the whole time rushing out of the building, waiting for a while, then slowly going back in 2s and 3s. Until the next one. It was like that day and night.
Julie, it sounds as though you won't forget it for a long time, if ever. We're glad you're back safe and sound on terra firma. Thanks for coming in today to talk to us.